What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger. Watching my back, as always, the Alexis Arguello puppet. I'm in the flesh. He's in the felt. We're ready for another banger of an episode, and we got one. But when don't we? Like I always say, legends, luminaries, world champions, and fighters on the come up, all coming here to chop it up with your boy, Reckless Rex, the most amazing and real boxing conversations anywhere on planet Earth. As you know, we are, of course, the undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of boxing podcasts, and today is no different. Got another banger of an episode for you, and my guest will be in here momentarily. Before he gets in here, let me go promotion mode right here and pimp the podcast a little bit. Make sure to like and follow Off the Couch Boxing on Facebook. That's first and foremost. There you'll get updates on new episodes, when they're dropping, and who will be on them, and any other pertinent, hot, topical boxing news I can send your way to keep my audience in the loop. If it's going on in the fight game, I'm dropping it on the Facebook page and keeping you guys abreast of what's going on. Fight updates, fight results, breaking news, analysis, predictions, breakdowns, viral videos. Something pops off at a press conference or a weigh-in. I'm on it. I'm sharing it, man. We're all keeping each other in the loop in this boxing game that we all love so much. And, of course, if you're on this channel right now, make sure to like, subscribe, smash that notification button. My guest is here. We're getting into it. Let's go. We're in the promotional mode very quickly right there. Israel, how are you, man? Do I got you?
Yeah. You see me here?
I can see you. There you go. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Rex?
Good to have you on here, man. I appreciate you doing this, man. It's nice to meet you.
Hey, it's nice to finally meet you, brother. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So first of all, man, I want to get your opinion on something, man, because I've asked other fighters like their opinion of a draw. Your last fight ended in a draw. When you're a fighter, man, what's a draw feel like, man? Is a draw a win, a loss? I mean, what do you take away from it when you draw with somebody?
Well, being that that's my second draw, it was, sad to say, but it's kind of it's not as gut wrenching as it was the first time. I can say that.
Yeah.
The first time it was gut wrenching. It was gut wrenching knowing that fight is not as. I don't know. It was. You never want to draw. To me, it's kind of like a loss.
Yeah, is that the way you look at it? Like a loss?
That's the way I look at it. It's like a loss, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, dude, well, damn, it's not an L on my record, but at the end of the day, but then also I also see it like in a way, like, okay, other people are gonna see that draw and they're gonna kind of underestimate me about it. So I'm like, man, maybe that's a plus.
Maybe it's a good thing. Yeah.
Maybe so. Take the good with the bad type thing.
Yeah, and so your next fight is April 19th. I don't know if this has changed or not, but as of right now, BoxRec and the different websites have the opponent to be determined. Do you have any idea who the opponent is yet?
Right. Yeah. So we have an opponent. It's an Argentine guy.
Okay.
He's a tough guy. I can say he has a lot of names on his resume. So it's kind of like a good comeback fight for me to come and get a W under my record and come out and show the people here in California, like kind of get my crowd, see how many people come on and support. Right. So that's awesome, man. I would really like a rematch with the guy Rubalcava, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. At this point, nothing has been said, but we'll see.
Now, let me ask your opinion on, step away from your own career for a minute, just to get your opinion on some topical stuff that's going on right now, man. Teofimo Lopez has a fight coming up. He's a guy you fought 2 times in the amateurs. He's got a fight coming up in Times Square against Arnold Barboza Jr. You've been in the ring with him, man. A lot of people online, man, don't give Barboza much of a chance. I like what Barboza does in the ring, man. How do you see that fight shaking out? You shared the ring with Teo.
I shared the ring with Teo and with Barboza, actually. I sparred Barboza.
Okay.
So, he at first, he's not like a guy with a flashy style, so maybe that's why people kind of count him out.
Right.
But my thing was this, I was kind of like skeptical and like iffy about him, but then I'm like, okay, if he gets past this guy Catterall, then he has to be doing something right, because this guy Catterall is not a pushover.
Yeah.
He's a tricky cat. He has power punch and he's a southpaw. And so I'm like, if he gets past him, you know, it was a snooze fest, but I'm like, he got past his ass, so he might be able to do something. But you know what? I think this guy, Teofimo, he's just explosive. You know, I just think that he's been having like the better fights. You know, the thing with Teal is that we don't know which Teal is gonna show up.
Right.
That's the thing. You know, that's my thing. So I'm like, is it, you know, like if it's you know, like Teal that fought Loma or Teal that knocked out Comey, then okay, you know, then it's, you know. But if the other Teal shows up, the one that fought Cambosis, then maybe it won't be so well for him.
Now I have to ask, even though it's even though I like to think of news as topical when it happens within the month, we are April 1st. This happened March 1st, but I still want to ask, man, what were your takeaways from Tank Davis and Lamont Roach?
To be honest with you, I didn't really watch the fight like that, but from like seeing everything from as a whole, I see that these guys know each other in the amateurs. You know, I remember Roach in the amateurs. I remember a lot of these guys in the amateurs, and they all know each other. So you know, they know they know the timing. They know certain things. They just know they just have a feel for the guy. You know, he just had a feel for the guy. And you know, maybe it was an off night for Tank, but you know, I didn't watch the fight in its entirety, so I can't really comment on it like that.
If you're in the other corner though, and your opponent takes a knee though, you're thinking that's a knockdown though, right? The controversial round 9 knee that we saw.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, and so, the jab wasn't really a telling jab, you know, but you know, it touched his face, so he went, you know, he turned around. You know, that was very odd.
So you've already fought 2 times in 2025. How active would you like to be going forward for the rest of the year?
You know what? If I can get 2 more fights this year, you know, that'll be perfect for me. And then hopefully I get a big fight at the end of the year next year. You know, so we started off pretty good this year. You know, we got that big fight with Rubalcaba on a 2-week notice. And I've gotten some good work also out here in the LA gyms. I just sparred Devin Haney and Stanionis. So that was very interesting. So, you know, I see this year being very positive with 2 more fights, totaling 4 fights this year.
And so I'm glad you brought that up. So you're in sparring with Devin Haney, who we are going to see make his big return on that card I just talked about. You know, he stepped away from the sport for a while, coming back to fight. He's got a tough fight too, man. He didn't just cherry pick a guy, man. I mean, coming back off of a layoff like that and fighting Jose Ramirez, man, is certainly nothing to sneeze at. But I think everyone certainly wants to see a big rematch with him and Ryan Garcia. But you've been in there with him. What are your assessments of him? He's had a long layoff.
Devin Haney, he, you know what? For one, he was a lot, like, his physique looked a lot different. You know, I was expecting him to be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
I was just expecting everything to be a lot better, you know, like, but that's just the guy that I am. You know, when I go in the ring with somebody, I'm like thinking this guy's like a freaking world champion or something.
You built it up. Yeah.
That way I could be on my toes, you know, like a mental type edge, you know, but no, man, you know, the guy's on point. He's a smart boxer. You know, so those are my takeaways. You know, nothing crazy. You know, I just think that maybe it could. I think that guy's shot, actually, Jose Ramirez. I think he's a little shot. So you know, a guy like Devin Haney, you know, he's on point, very sharp. So if he makes a mistake, that guy, you know, he's gonna make him pay.
Where do you stand on these? You know, I know it's a very polarizing topic. You know, old school boxers with that old school mentality, you don't seem to be a fan of them. But then I know they do bring eyes to the sport. But where do you stand on these Jake Paul events? You know, do you like these for boxing, or do you not look at them as take them very seriously?
Well, you know what, man? My opinion on Jake Paul, you know, his antics, to me, I don't really take it that serious.
Yeah.
You know, the guy's making a boatload of money, you know, so like, I think that shit's hilarious, dude. He just came in here and just, you know, there's guys like me, guys like other guys dedicate their life and never see that type of money.
I know.
But you know, so I just think it's funny, but you know, the fighters that he's signing, I'm pretty sure they're getting paid good. So I mean, I think it's good.
Are you able to look at him? Because I know that you know, he's trying to live a life like a boxer, train like a boxer, wants to be viewed as a boxer. But you, as a guy, as you said, who's been grinding and doing this for a long time, are you able to look at him and give him his just due and say, you know what, I look at him now and I see a boxer, or is he not earned that yet?
He's a boxer, you know. He's a boxer. He train, you know. He takes it serious. If I see that, because there were some YouTubers that were not taking it serious,
right?
And some of them got like really hurt, and I was like, okay, this guy's a dummy. But You know, the guy at least he trains hard, and I see the trainers that he hires, they're like ex fighters. You know, like guys that have been knocked out, like Shane Mosley, freaking I don't know, Victor Ortiz, like a bunch of different guys. You know that you wouldn't be it wouldn't be like your first coach. You know, like as a YouTuber, but like I want Mike Tyson or Mayweather to be my trainer. You know,
right.
I think it's a smart. All right, man. I think it's a smart guy, you know, that he hires guys that been there, that been rocked, the guys that been through the hard fight. So I think he's a smart guy in that aspect, and so I respect him as a fighter. Yeah.
And now I'm glad that you brought up like some of those legendary names because, for you, when you first got into boxing, were you watching it a lot? And who were those guys that you were looking at as kind of like your sports heroes? You know what I mean? Like, were there guys that you looked at as like potential idols or guys that you wanted to emulate when you were coming up?
Of course, man. You know, like when I was coming up, I'd seen guys like Shane Mosley, I seen De La Hoya, who else? Fernando Vargas. You know, during that time, guys like that. You know, guys like that, and also too, like my father and my brother, man, they're big boxing fans, so they'll tell me about the guys like Alexis Arguello. You know, and then when I was old enough, I was able to watch those fights like Leonard, Marvin. You know, the guys from like the '80s and stuff, like way before my time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very inspired by guys like that, man. And I did a lot of research and studied a lot of tape. And Shane Mosley was my guy. You know, Alexis Arguello, got the chance to meet him.
Great guy.
Roy Jones, Pernell Whitaker. You know, all those guys, kind of like are very inspiring.
I may not be able to produce the real Alexis Arguello, but you might notice that I have the Alexis Arguello puppet, which is the next best thing right there. I mean,
oh wow, that's nice. That's like a special edition.
He's a perfect co-host too because he never chimes in and says a word, so that's good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I get to hog all the attention, man. So where does the nickname come from? I'm always intrigued by nicknames. Bad Waves is a fucking good one. Let me tell you, man, right off the bat, man. That's going in my top 5 right there, man. I mean, come on, man. Come on.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, it's an awesome nickname, man. It was given to me by an ex-coach. Yeah, man, during that time, I was like a teenager, kind of like a little hard-headed dude, and just getting into like little street scuffles, and it's just that's how it kind of came about. You know, one of the trainers just kind of stuck with it, and hey, man, you're a bad man, and you got some badass ways. Like, hey, man, we're gonna call you Bad Ways.
and so you being a California guy, man, you mentioned Shane Mosley, man. Like, would you say I want to get your take on like your upbringing and like your surroundings in the neighborhood and the area that you grew up in. How did that shape you as a fighter?
You know what? It was very interesting. You know, it's very interesting, and coming up as a fighter in my area, like I was kind of always known as like a boxer. Many of my my little scuffles were like in elementary school and stuff like that, but it was like fun, it was like nothing ever out of like being a bad kid type thing. It was just like fun, kids in the neighborhood, that was the thing. They get the gloves on or barefoot sometimes. So that was very cool, man. Kind of growing up, man, we're very inspired, man. I was always in the gym. How
early on did you get boxing gloves on? How early did you start?
You know what? I got boxing gloves on maybe like when I'd say like 9, but this is just like family events or like backyard brawl, like little scrap. But I had my first amateur fight at 12 years old.
Okay.
12.
Okay.
Yeah, and
And so how long did you stay amateur? Well, did you have a long amateur career?
Yeah, you know what? I did have a long amateur career. I went to Olympic trials in 2015, so I believe I had my debut when I was 21.
And where do you stand on an amateur background? Because we see guys a lot of times get knocked for obviously not having more of an amateur background and not building up their resume before they turn pro. But then we see some guys get criticized, like a guy like Lomachenko. People said, "Oh my God, almost 400 amateur fights. Maybe he stayed amateur too long and he hasn't had a very long professional career." Are you of the opinion better to longer amateur career, shorter, kind of in the middle?
That's an interesting question. I think that Lomo's a one-of-a-kind guy. Like all those amateur fights, of course, they take a toll on you. But in his case, man, look at the stuff that he did, man. No one else can do the type of stuff that he does in the ring, and so it's kind of like a give and take, man. But I think like right around, I had over 100 amateur fights, like I say about 130 fights. I think that's perfect, man. Just over like 100 fights, 80 fights, like nothing more than that. Anything more than that, I think is just overdoing it.
Now, I think we've been doing this podcast. I obviously try to keep my ear to the ground, keep up to speed on what's going on in boxing. Belong to a lot of different boxing forums and stuff on Facebook. There are a lot of people who are very protective of the sport as fans that are a little unsure about Turki Al-Sheikh and the Saudi Arabia influence on boxing. Obviously, they're trying to get the best to fight the best. You know what I mean? They're having a lot of great events for us over there. But there are people that are obviously a little bit leery, about their seemingly takeover of boxing. You like what they're doing for boxing?
Hey, man, if they're offering the best fights, man, they're offering more money. Bigger shows, interesting venues and stuff like that, then I'm all for it, man. Because us as fighters, not only people only see the top percent of the fighters. Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, these guys. There's so many other fighters that need opportunities in fights. So I think it's a good thing. These guys coming in here, giving us a chance, a platform. More money, more views.
Yeah,
things awesome.
Now you currently compete at super lightweight, but are you interested in exploring any other weight classes? And, if you were to go higher, what do you feel like for your body type is your ceiling? How high could you go?
Well, man, you know what, dude? At this point, I feel real comfortable at 140. But, after sparring Devin, I actually sparred that same day. I sparred the Stanionis as well. Yeah. So after being in the ring with those two guys, man, you know what? I think that I might be able to do a fight at 147 with these guys.
Yeah.
Devin Haney or some shit like that. Perfect, man.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. After being in the ring with that guy Stanionis, I don't know if you've seen him fight, man, but he looks like he cracks pretty hard. And those in the ring, of course we got sparring, bigger gloves, but I felt real comfortable and solid in there. So
he's got a fight. He's got a fight coming up here. We're gonna see what he can do against Boots here pretty soon here.
Yeah, with Boots, huh?
Yeah, he's defending his belt with Boots. April 12th? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's got a fight coming right up. And so you yourself, man, you've got 13 total pro fights. Do you talk about with your team a timeline on when you feel like maybe you would be in a world title picture? Because we are seeing guys now, obviously, I'm 52 years old. I remember when you used to have a lot of fights before you could even be, getting a title shot. Now we see guys, obviously, we talked about Lomachenko. He was fighting for a title in his third or fourth fight. We just saw Keyshawn Davis win a title in his 13th, 14th pro fight. So it seems like guys can get belts now a lot earlier. What's the scenario like for you?
We say we're around 3 or 4 fights, man. 3 or 4 fights, we'll be ready for something like that. And and it is very possible. Very possible. Just the way that conversations are going right now, and the way that we're envisioning everything. So we say right around 3 or 4 fights. At the end of this year, early next year, we might have some sort of interim situation.
Right.
So we get one of those belts so we can become a mandatory, man, and get a fight, one of those title fights, man.
Is there anybody stylistically or anybody that holds a belt at 140 specifically that you feel like you would target or match up well with?
Oh, of course, man. I think Teofimo's a champ. Well, of course, Teofimo's a champ. This other kid, what's his name? Hitchens.
Yeah, Richardson. Yep.
Hitchens. Okay, who else do we got there? Who else has a belt? All right, who else has a belt at 140?
Does Pitbull have one?
Who's that?
Does Pitbull Cruz have one?
Oh, you know what? No. Okay. Gary Russell just won one.
Gary Russell just won one. That's right. Yeah.
That the fights that I had with Teofimo Lopez, we have history. I think that won't be good, or Richardson Hitchens.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think there's a potential with any one of those guys with the awesome cat man with his next fights that we're trying to have. I think that'll be like a great matchup. Too bad Kevin Haney left, but. What's that?
And you feel like because boxing is such a part of your life, do you feel like obviously you're right in the midst of your career right now. You got a long time to go ahead of you before you hang up the gloves. But do you feel like if you could look into the future when you do hang up the gloves, do you feel like boxing will always be something? Do you feel like boxing is something you'll always have a foot in? Like, are you interested in after your in-ring career, promoting, training? You feel like you'll always be involved in boxing?
I think so. Because right now I'm actually I do personal training like as on my side stuff, and I think I will. I think I will because just the way my career has gone, and me kind of going this far without being managed like that. It's been very interesting. So I think that maybe I can help somebody else out in their career, starting off and give them opportunities, kind of like that I didn't have growing up.
Yeah.
So I think that just given with the little bit of knowledge that I learned along the way and like the connections that I've made, that I'll be able to do that. So yeah, I think to answer your question, yes, I think I would always have a foot in boxing.
And to answer your question, when all I had to do was flip my page over because I have notes on stuff I want to talk to you about. Just as a side note, Hitchinson's has the IBF belt. Gary Antoine, as you said, has the WBA. Barboza has the Teofimo obviously has the WBO. Barboza has the WBO interim, and Albert Puello has the WBC.
Okay. Yeah. That's an interesting fight as well.
Yeah.
Alberto Puello, he's a Dominican guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any one of those fights, man. You know what? They're all very possible fights. And the way that boxing is, man, things change so fast. People pop in, pop out, man. I'm like, dude, give me 3-4 fights. Let's get on track to get in this title contingency and let's do it.
I got to ask you about one guy at 140 pounds, man, who seems to be a polarizing character. A lot of people, don't take him very seriously, man. I'm wondering your assessment and your opinion of one Rolly Romero.
That guy is just.
He seems to constantly work himself into big fights.
Well, yeah, that's for one. He did that. It's funny because when I first caught wind of him, I was at the Olympic qualifier in Philly.
Yeah.
And I seen him. He lost to the dude that I beat in the finals. His name was Elijah Pierce.
I've had Elijah on the show a couple times.
Oh, nice. Yeah. He's a good fighter, man.
Yeah.
So we fought in the amateurs, man. I beat him in the finals in Philly and for the qualifier. He's doing very well. But I remember him, man. It was just so funny. He's an odd character, He was in the ring, just like ugly face, dude, just making an ugly face the whole time. I'm like, who's this guy? I didn't end up seeing him, So it's kind of funny. Yeah, he tucked his way to some big fights. Maybe we'll see. I don't think that he's gonna look too good against Ryan, but you never know, man. That's why we love boxing because we never know what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, the styles make fights. But when you see an event like that, though, man, and apparently the plan is to drop a ring in the middle of Times Square. But it seems like in a lot of ways, though, man, I don't know if there's been a lot of forethought put into this. It seems like it could also be a security nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a lot. It seems like, obviously they have like New Year's Eve in the middle of Times Square and they get millions of people to turn out. But dropping a boxing ring there and just first come, first serve, whoever gets there can watch the fights. And then suddenly people are leaving this event. They're all charged up after watching boxing. It just seems like some shit's going to jump off. I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong and it goes off without a hitch. But.
Oh, I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, that's. I think I don't know if I seen somewhere that it was not going to happen or something, but I've been seeing a lot, like on a lot of different platforms, that same concern. That open event, the security thing is not going to be really under control. It seems kind of odd, but hey, man, like I said, you never know. In the sport, what could happen. But is that scheduled, by the way?
Yeah, May 2nd.
Oh wow. Okay.
May 2nd. Yeah. Yeah, so literally right around the corner. And I mean, it's only 3 fights, but we just talked about all of them. And, they're all booked. You know what I mean? They've had press conferences already. You know what I mean? Multiple press conferences. They've had face-offs. They've had all kinds of stuff already. So those fights are certainly like locked in. I don't know. I suppose they could always change the venue at the last minute, if it seemed like it was going to be a big issue and put them inside somewhere. I mean, maybe Barclays Center or Madison Square Garden or someplace that's still in New York City. I don't know. I don't know if they've given it a lot of thought about, how crazy and chaotic that could be just to have like fights out on the street,
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that whole Alcatraz thing also was pretty
yeah.
as well.
Yeah. And so for you, beyond the April fight, do you have a date for your next one or a ballpark of a month of when you'd like to fight again? How soon you'd like to bounce back and get back in the ring again?
Yeah, you know what? After that April fight, I think maybe something in July would be good.
Okay.
I'm also hoping to get a rematch with Rubakava sometime during that time, but it seems like that might not be an option right now. So we're just gonna go with the next best thing, and just just keep fighting better guys. Hopefully fighting some ranked guys, so get my name out there more and show everybody what MERCADO's about.
And you brought his name up a couple times. I'm wondering, as a fighter, obviously you guys have a lot of pride. You brought Ruben Cleva's name up a couple times, man. Does it stick in your craw when you have a draw? Do you feel like you need to resolve it and have like a definitive outcome? I mean, is that the impetus for wanting a rematch?
Well, the whole thing is that it got so much attention. It
Right.
got so much attention, and that clip got so many views, and so many people caught wind of it. Everywhere I go, people are talking about it. So if it says something that people want to see, like when I took my first L, my first and only L versus that Russian cat, that Russian dude Byarsanov, they didn't even give me an interview. They didn't want to even fucking talk to me. They put the highlights up like bullshit. They didn't put my whole highlight up. They just kind of like blackballed me. So I didn't even get a chance to even say nothing.
Right.
Like whatever. And after that, it was just so difficult to come back from that. Then I come back and I get a bullshit draw. Then I'm like, everybody's seen that was some BS. And then I get another draw. Then everybody's going haywire. Well, I'm like, well, let's do it again. People want to see it. Let's go.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up too, man, because you are a guy that's in the early stages of your career, man. Obviously, like, you dispute the fact that it was a draw. I kind of agree with you, man. But that is still kind of a glaring problem in boxing, though, and it's unfortunate. We are still seeing some very bad judging and bad scoring.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, yeah, because that could really, it really affects careers, and
sure,
that sucks. But I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of the game. So, I'll give my shot to get back out there and put on some great shows for sure.
I gotta ask, in case anybody asks in the comments section, because your last name is MERCADO, another guy, a rising star, man, Ernesto Tito MERCADO. Any relation?
Yeah, that's my nephew.
Okay. Yeah. Well, pass along the word that I'm a huge fan of him and try to run him down for a podcast interview. I would love to have him on, man. He is great. He is really great.
Yeah, he definitely is. We actually fought on the same card.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, we both fought on that card. We fought Pedraza.
Yeah. Yep.
Right before him.
Yeah. I really like what he's doing. I like the way he's moving, man. And like, he's got a lot of upside to him, man. It's just so much talent, man. I mean, he's amazing. Yeah,
for sure.
And so you would probably say that more likely a world title shot is probably more likely in 2026 then, if everything works out.
Yeah, that's the way it's looking here. Yeah, that's the way it's looking. That's what we have like in our mind right now. So we're gonna work towards that, and that's our goal. We're gonna get
okay. Awesome. Listen, brother, I appreciate you doing this. I'm glad we got a chance to make this happen, man. And now that we've talked, I got your contact information. Definitely keep in touch, man. Love to have you back on again, man. We'll definitely talk after your upcoming fight.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Good talking to you, man.
Likewise.
All right. Later.
All right.
And there he goes, folks. Israel Badways MERCADO, 11-1-2. And you obviously heard how he feels about draws. We don't like the draw. And I get it, man. I get it as a fighter, man. You want to set the record straight and say, I want to run it back with this guy because, first of all, I think I won. Second of all, it just doesn't sit well. I don't want to tie with another man in a fight. I get that. It's probably extremely frustrating, man. But he's a great young fighter, man. Amazing talent, man. And hats off to him, man. As his next fight coming up, as he said, against an opponent from Argentina on April 19th. If you're looking to tap in, Israel Badways MERCADO will be back in action April 19th. And then you heard he'd like to get a few more fights in. Again, looking at July, and he didn't say much past that, but would like to get a couple more fights in. As I said, he fought in January to a draw. And like I said, has this fight coming up April 19th. So I really appreciate him taking the time to pop on here and chat with me. And I know I rushed through the promotional aspect because he was coming into the Google Meet room here. But like I said before that, make sure to like and follow Off the Couch Boxing on Facebook, and make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay tapped in. This is where the most amazing and real boxing conversations happen anywhere on planet Earth. And as I always say, I'll only speak on behalf of planet Earth. For all I know, the aliens are up there in the ether somewhere doing amazing, dope shit. Maybe they got a phenomenal boxing podcast. But here on Earth, this is the place to be, man. The undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing podcast. You know it. I know it. The world is starting to know it. And let me also tell you, let me first digress and take one more opportunity to thank Israel Badways MERCADO for coming on the podcast and remind you that you too can be a champ. Yes, you can. Perk up your ears, get out your notepad, take some notes. And it's very simple, the formula here. Just make sure to continue to walk through life and act like a champ. Hold your head up high, put your chest out, continue to be a champ, continue to stay tapped in to Off the Couch Boxing, and continue to roll with the champs. Peace.